Hiya folks, JD and Max here on another little explore. Today we have come to the Staple Hill Tunnel. Now when I used to cycle back from Bristol to Bath, when I used to work in Bath, this is the old line I used to use. And I called it a line because this is the Bristol to Bath railway path. Now it's a cycle and walkway. So if I turn around, that's where we've come from. And we've walked this way. That way is Bath. And this way is Bristol. Now, this particular, it's quite a windy day. Hopefully it's not going to affect the recording too much. But this tunnel is quite significant because there's a few things which Max will tell you about shortly about this tunnel as we get through it. And I really love this tunnel. It's old. You can see holes in the roof where the steam engines, where the steam rather, would have vented as the engines went through it. It really is a historic, and in the Bristol area at least, an iconic tunnel. And it is absolutely beautiful. And fortunately, we've been granted a day where, yes, okay, there's a bit of wind, but they had forecast nothing but rain today. And so far, touch wood, we've been okay. So hopefully the wind isn't going to affect this too much. I'm just keeping an eye behind me because there are cyclists and scooter people around. And right through the end of the tunnel, we've got another station there which we're going to get to. And I've got a bit of information for there once we get there. So I'm going to pass the camera to Max, who is then going to tell you all about this tunnel. Max, over to you.
So this tunnel began its construction in 1834, I believe. And it wasn't finished until 1869, which is when it opens for rail traffic. During the construction, we've got cyclists coming, so we'll step over here. During its construction, the superintendent, a man named Jonathan Keefe, unalived himself, as we say on YouTube, after becoming distressed with part of the building. They did an inquest, and the inquest, hello, Mr. Magpie, and the inquest came to show that the only struggle in his life that was known at the time was a problem with the construction of this tunnel. As we can see it all up there. Obviously there could have been many other reasons that were unknown at the time, but this is possibly the the best known reason for his sad demise.
This is lovely.
You can just see how dark it becomes as you even just a few steps away from the entrance of the tunnel.
That's great. Have you got any more information for us, Max?
There was an accident during the construction of the tunnel, but there was actually no recorded fatalities. The man in the accident broke his ribs, and that was the most significant accident in its construction, which I think is quite good going, actually.
It is quite good going for something like this, especially, when did you say it was built?
1869 it opened.
1869 it opened, so it would have been in construction, I imagine, for a year or two.
Oh, many years. It was began in 1834.
Oh, wow.
The first paperwork and things to do with it. Scared the life out of me.
There we are, fantastic, thanks Max. Let's keep going through, let's have a little look. There we are, Max, take this camera.
Thank you.
There we are. So let's have a little look at this tunnel's construction then. So as you might be able to hear, we've come at this particular time, which currently is 1:45, so there shouldn't be that many people in here. So you might get the odd cyclist, but you can hear the water dripping from these little water holes here. There's one there. There's one there. You can see them going right the way around, and the water just dripped literally in my eye as I was talking then. But there's plenty of these little holes around here. There's one there. You can see some forming of stalactites and stalagmites. I can never remember which one's which, but you can see them forming on the roof of the tunnel as well in certain areas. And I've just got to clean off my glasses ever since that dripped literally in my eye. Now they've added lights here, which has been a very needed feature of this tunnel, because when cyclists come through here, and being a person that has cycled through here at 3 o'clock in the morning, it is absolutely terrifying. So it's good to see that they've got those lights up there. So you've got the supporting pillars that you can see every now and again. There's one there, and one at the entrance, and one just over Max's left shoulder there. And these supporting pillars were there to be able to hold up the weight of this arched roof. And there you go, you can see all the water dripping down here. So in the coming years, this is going to make quite a lot of interesting patterns as all the different materials leak out of this stone. It's a very wet tunnel, and we've had a bit of rain, but albeit this has been quite a dry spell we've had. So this tunnel, I don't know whether Max said, because I was walking quite a way ahead of him, this particular tunnel is apparently 515 yards, which is just over 0.2 miles. There we go. A very heavy water patch there. You can see all the dripping. I love the sound of dripping water. I'm going to see whether we can get some. Beautiful. And these formations as well, you can see salts probably, or other materials leaking through the stones. Hello, pigeon. It's not very often you get to walk through an old railway tunnel. And this one is absolutely fantastic. Look at this. Really old. I'm not really sure. It looks like a hook. It's certainly metal. I don't know what that would have been for. I'll have to see if I can find out, and now I'll put it into the video if I can. But there's more there, look. If I just dip this camera down, there's more there, more there, more there. So they would have been dotted around. Whether it could have been for piping, old pipes perhaps. That might be one use for it. God, it's so dark. See if I can get my little torch out. Yeah, that's better. Oh, more pigeons. There's more of those strange little metal pieces coming through the rock there. I gotta find out what that is. More there.
Oh, I've got another graffiti dude. I like his little face. Kind of a bit of a Popeye-esque.
You can see the original orange brick. I'm guessing all of this black. I'm going to say it's soot, but I don't think it is. I think it's some sort of... Oh, I don't know, mate. It is solid. Yeah, it could be soot from the old steam engines. Calcified and just left there over the years, possibly. There's certainly a lot of it, and especially when you look up on the roof as well. You can see a lot there, see a lot over here, in really strange formations and patterns, which is what's leading me to believe it might be from the steam engines. See over here, we're just going to come across this red brick. We're going to come into a massive section here. So I've been keeping a weather eye. I know it's all down this side of the wall. It might not be, it could be something else. But I don't know, up here, certainly I seem to think it might be. I just get the impression that it could be from the steam engines. So, and this being Staple Hill Tunnel. Oh, it just is lovely. Look at that. We've walked so far. If I just turn around, see where Max is. Oh, Max is all the way over there. Hello, Max. We've walked quite a way in. We've still got further to go. I've been keeping an eye open to see if I can find these little holes in the roof where the steam would vent. I think we're coming up to one right here. You can't really miss them. So we'll just walk across here. Got to be careful because even though the right-hand side where the cyclists are is tarmac, the left-hand side where I am is very much not tarmacked. What is that? Is that coal that I'm stepping on? I don't really know. No, it's not coal. It's just normal stone. It just looks like possible coal. There we are. Right, so we're going to come up to our first part of the tunnel where the steam would vent through. So have a quick little look at the walls here. This is interesting. See the difference in the tunnel there? So you've got a line going up there and a line up there. I wonder if this is the bit that Max was telling us about, where the guy unalived himself. Because it does go up the whole length of the tunnel, which is quite interesting. Max, you know the part of the tunnel you said where that guy did himself in? You said because of the construction was... What was the exact word you used? The construction...
It deviated slightly from the original plans.
Slightly. What about this? I mean, obviously I'm just speculating here, but...
I can't see that with my camera.
Can you see there's a line there? going up in the red brick, and there's a line there. Can you see that?
Yep, I can see that.
See, it just looks like that construction was different to the either side.
It could be part of the improvements that took place in 2015, I think it was.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, they refurbished. Do you refurbish a tunnel?
Well, yeah, I suppose you will. You sort of reconstruct, wouldn't you?
Reconstruct, that's the word. Restored, that was the word I was looking for.
A couple of stalactites, I think. Can never remember which one's which, just from up here. Yeah. And here's the first section where the steam engines would vent the steam. So these, you can see, are huge. At the top, it's not coming very well on the video, but at the top there's a grate. Oh, you might be able to see it actually in the reflection, right about here. There's a massive grate on the top so nobody can fall in, because this is quite a drop from there right the way down the side here, and then right away into the floor. So these are built into the tunnel. This is the first one we've seen on our walk into the tunnel, but I believe there's another one or two as we go further along. And the whole point of it was a ventilation shaft to get the steam out. Because you imagine these steam engines, for those of you that have never been on a steam engine, they puff out a lot of steam, a lot of soot, a lot of coal dust. And all of that inside this tunnel is going to be unbreathable, and it will just stay because it's quite a heavy steam, a heavy gas. So it'll just stay. So these little parts of the tunnel, exactly where Max is now, that would just ensure that the steam would vent out. And because that is an air trap as well, the steam would be pulled towards there. So even if all the steam was here, further up in the tunnel, see where that white pillar is, it would still eventually vent out. It's marvellous construction, absolutely fantastic. I mean, just the forethought behind that. I mean, it may seem quite silly, put a hole in the tunnel, but again, you've got to fortify that, haven't you? You've got to make it strong. You've got to ensure that even when you put it in, the tunnel, it's not going to be a weak spot of the tunnel. So we're still, again, look at this now. This is some of the formations I was talking about as we were walking into the tunnel, and we saw all that water in the brick. It's now leaking through, look, all the water, and you can see all of the minerals and God knows what else coming through these stones. And all of that eventually is going to make quite a, oh, look at that. Where is it? That bit there. Look at that. All of this is going to make quite a mess, but it's going to look fantastic. And this is where you get a lot of minerals, a lot of iron, a lot of whatever else is in the stone will come out, and it'll colour itself as well. So you'll have white. So you can see there a little bit of white, a little bit of orange, but eventually it'll come through and it'll be. Oh, look at all these different patches coming across this wall. There's loads of them, and they won't just stay white. They'll turn whatever is in that stone. It'll leach out. And fair play. Look at that. That's beautiful. See the red brick coming through there. It's fantastic. Just turn around and just keep on looking. Again, there's another lot there that's leaching through. That's all the water, all the damp, and just how dank all of it is. Fortunately now, just to give you an update, my eye is dried from the water unexpectedly getting in past my glasses into my eyeball. This is such a lovely, lovely tunnel. And I know that's quite a weird thing to say, but just how it's built, how it's constructed. I mean, looking at this here, there looks to be, if I put my camera up here, it looks to be like an archway, see that, where the light is? And going around. So they would have probably built an archway and then put this in the middle to strengthen it, is my guess, but I'm not an engineer. Well, I am, but I'm not a civil engineer. And there's a little gap down there, look. Fascinating. I wonder if they've got that over this end, if there's a little archway over the top here, or if that was something that they've covered up. Let me just check I'm not going to get hit by a cyclist. Oh no, there's an archway there as well, look. So if you look in the same way, let's see if you can follow the light. There's an archway there, and it leaks around. See, there is an arch. So I'm guessing they would have put an arch, because there is a strength in an arch shape, hence why tunnels are arced. But that's what they would have done. And there's another one here. They would have put an arch in and then put the supporting pillar in there to hold everything in. You right there, Max? Did I hear you trip over? Yeah, it's a bit treacherous over this end. But then we've got, again, we're losing, there's quite a dry part of the tunnel here. Doesn't seem to be anything here. I can hear some drips further on. But, look at that. Pre the skinwalkers, look behind you. Well, let's look behind us. There's not a skinwalker, there's Max. I know he's not a skinwalker. Oh, right, okay, well, watch out, there's apparently skinwalkers. And so we're going to keep going. And then, again, a very dry part of the wall here. Nothing. Obviously, you've got the white damp and you've got this. This does fascinate me. Is this coal deposits or, you know, steam deposits? Or it looks fantastic. It almost looks like a mold, but it's rock hard to the touch. It's absolutely rock hard. What's that over there? Well, that might have been where... See these marks up here? It might be tools when they were building it. It could have been after. Actually, that looks like quite new cement. It could have just been somebody just buggering about. Right, there's another wet part of the tunnel over here and a very dark part as well. Wow. Am I going to get hit by cyclists? No. Right, in we go. Yeah, you can see all the water here just dripping down this wall. Wow. Ah, look what's coming up. We are coming up to another steam exit point in the tunnel. You can just see the arch of the light. What have we got over here? Again, this side of the wall is extremely dry. Extremely dry. The right side, extremely wet. But the ceiling itself looks in really good nick. And then again, look, there's more of these supporting bars. Could just be rebar that's come out, maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to have a little look and see. That looks like it would have held something. I'm going to say it would have held some cables or some piping or something. Maybe it was piping for the trains. As in, maybe there was a water tank somewhere, and that would carry these here. Because they seem quite... There's one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. They seem quite separated, so I would imagine that would have a bit of weight, whatever it would be. So maybe there's a water tank around here and the trains would refill their boilers with the water, perhaps. Are we doing that, Max? Good. Now this wall's starting to get a bit wet now. A little bit here. There we go. And here's another outlet for steam. It looks like there would have only been two in this tunnel, perhaps. The one that we've passed and this one here. As we scope up and have a little look. There we go. So again, same construction, same method. This has got grating on the top as well, stop people falling in. And then you can see some ferns in the stone. And then as you come straight down, same sort of construction as the last one. And I don't know if they're equidistant from the opening of the tunnel. The other one we can just see there. But it does seem as if that would be the same distance from there to the end of the tunnel. And then between that outlet and this outlet I'm standing next to, and the end of the tunnel there, I don't know. Oh, it's echoey. Ooh. I don't know whether it is equidistant, whether there is actually some science behind that. So that, be careful here, Max, it's sodden. Stay over this side. Yeah, so I don't know whether there is some science in if they are equidistant, so that the steam would be able to escape from the entry and outlet of the tunnel, as well as those steam vents. I do love a good bit of graffiti, and Bristol is full of it. You're going to be okay. That's nice. That's a nice little positive message there from Bristol. A fantastic place, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic. Again, the wall's getting quite wet now, so we've had quite a long way where the wall has been extremely dry. And then round about here, we're starting to get some water again. And then you can see the archway on that pillar really, really easily. See there? That archway there? You can spot that one. That stone isn't too eroded like the others. So you can see that quite easily. So we're not far now towards the entrance into the Bristol part of the tunnel. And this would be the Bristol line that headed straight down. And there's a little station down there. We're going to head there. So we've come from the Bath end. And now we're heading towards the Bristol end. We just check on Max. It's gone awfully quiet. Where is he? Oh, he's all the way up there, look. Hi, Max. Oh. So again, doesn't look to be any outlets now, steam outlets. So we are just heading towards the end. And then we're going to head down to the station, which is right on the bottom. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We have got... This is what the archway would have looked like. So, if I step back a bit. So if I just refresh your memory. See, above all of these pillars, we've got an arch. You might just be able to see the light just arching up there. And these pillars have been put in there. Now, I said a little while ago they were strengthening pillars. And they might be. But look at that. You can see one here which hasn't got a pillar in front of it. So you can see that brick is new. That's breeze block. And then you can see the arch there that isn't covered up. But you can see some, again, not remembering which one's which, stalactite, stalagmite. You can see the top there. Let's have a little bit of a closer look at it. So this would be the original stone by the look of it. That's lovely. Oh, look at that gap at the back there. You can see back into the tunnel. Look at that. You see into the sidewall construction. That's fascinating. And I think that's the only one we certainly haven't passed one. Haven't passed an arch which has been open. So that would be the only one that we have seen on this journey which hasn't had a supporting pillar like this one coming up on my left. Again, we're getting into a wet part of the tunnel now. You can hear the water really coming in. There we are, loads of water coming in here, all into the left. The torch is going to be pretty much useless from this point onwards. Oh, look at all that formation. Look at all that there. Amazing. And the water seems to be leaking in just from the open brick. Again, I'm not seeing any flood holes in the top that they would put in to drain the water out. So that's water water will always find a way, but that is water that is finding its way just through the brick. And little gaps in the brick. And then this is the Bristol end then that we're heading through. Oh, look, another one, which has just got this halfway built up, and they look like they'd started to build up a new pillar. I just walk across here. But again, oh look, that looks like it's actually crumbling a little bit behind there, see? Big stones are starting to come from there, and that big bit of brick at the corner, that bit there, that looks as if it's hanging down. But it looks like they've started strengthening it already. Wow, what is this? Is that a rail? My God, it looks like this is a rail. Because it's, if I keep on walking straight down here, it's actually buried into the floor. That looks like it could actually be a rail track. Yeah, look at that. Do you know what? The amount of times I've used this tunnel, and I never, ever, ever knew that was there. That's marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. And I believe, I've just seen out the corner of my eye when I was looking down this way, there is another one here, look. So that would be part of the same one. Or it might not be a rail. It does look quite rail-like though, doesn't it? I suppose it could be a supporting girder. But that does really look like a rail, and it is definitely some sort of metal. And that bit there, that bit is still dug in, whereas over there where Max is right now, you can still see that little bit that's jetting up from the back end of the rail right here. So that is, whatever that is, that's support in there. I'm hoping that is a rail track, but I don't want to give false information. So, I mean, it's every possibility it could be, but it also looks quite a lot like a girder as well. Because that is, if you imagine how wide a train is, that is quite close to the wall, and a train is much wider than that. So I guess that might be a supporting girder. And then we get into the end. And then further down here, once the camera refocuses from the light, down here there's a little bit of a raised platform there. That is the old station. You can just see somebody walking across it. And we're gonna, oh, my arm's now soaking wet. And now we're gonna make our way that way. And we're gonna get to that station. But before we do, I'm gonna just walk through here. And we're gonna have a little look at this tunnel, because this part of the tunnel is absolutely stunning. Here we go. Let's turn around. Look at that. That's a really ominous structure, but so absolutely fantastic. I can't even see Max. Maybe the skinwalkers have got him. Oh no, he is there. There he is. Hello, Max. But yeah, that's such an ominous structure, but at the same time, looks so beautiful. I think you see some pigeons there. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And again, this stone wall working its way, all helping the structure of the tunnel and helping to keep the mud back from the bank. Incredible. Now we're going to keep going. This is such a beautiful walk. And of course you can cycle it. You can cycle directly from Bristol, which is this end here, directly to Bath, which is directly behind me. Well, not directly behind me, so it's about 10 miles behind me. But it certainly is the way that we've just walked. So here we go. So nice. Unfortunately, the wind has died down as well, because I was wondering how that was going to handle with the microphone, because I can't find my dead cats for the microphone for some reason. I don't know where the hell that's gone, but I'll have to have another little look. And here there's a ramp this side of the station, so I'm going to switch over. Just check behind me. I'm going to switch over to the right hand side, and then we're going to jump on top of the station. And then I want you guys to use your imagination a little bit when I tell you this little part of the story. So this is one of the stations. So Staple Hill, this might be Staple Hill, I think, but this Staple Hill tunnel we've just walked through. So imagine this now, let me get on top of the platform. So where the camera is looking, that's the Bristol end. And where we've just walked from, that's the Bath end. So imagine all of this tarmac here in front of us having a railway line on it, and all the trains with all the Pullman carriages, all the steam trains and all the Pullman carriages coming straight down here, stopping at this station, getting all the passengers off at the station and new passengers on at the station. Because it's not a very big station as stations go, it's really quite short. And then from here they would go further up, back the way I did look, up here, and they would go to Yate, they would go to Mangotsfield station, they would go to to Bath. So all of that is up there, and there are tons of other stations on the way as well that no longer exist, unfortunately. But this is a little piece of Britain's history that doesn't get seen. Again, here's more of the wall structure that runs right the way down to the tunnel. And it's all the same stone by the look of it. And they've added some little commemorative benches here. But I think it would have been nice if they'd, I mean, that's great, but it would have been nice if they'd actually put the sort of commemorative sort of GWR for the Great Western Railway, some actual benches there. And then we're getting to the end of it. So yeah, I mean, this is, there we are, look at this nice little column up here. Stations used to be so ornate, and they used to be so beautiful. And you can see here where that barrier is. This is the walkway. So you'd walk down across the station, and then you'd walk down this rather steep lane to get to the station. I mean, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And there we are. What milestone marker is this? Hello, Max.
Hello.
What milestone marker is this? Staple Hill. Yes, so this is Staple Hill Station. So, Bristol is 4 miles, 4.25 miles to my right. Bath is 11.75 miles to my left. We've got Acacia Road behind us. The gradient level is here as well. The Avon Valley Project, posted by Katie Hallett and local children, supported by the country's Decommission and Sustrans. Sustrans, there are going to be other companies as well, but they are uniquely responsible for this Bristol to Bath cycle path. And it, you know, I cannot commend them enough for it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And straight down there, you can see more of the path, which again would have been the old railway line. What an absolutely fantastic day out. I hope you've enjoyed as much as we have. We've got a lot more stations on this line, and we're going to be covering them as well. So please join us then. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe. Say bye, Max. Bye. I've been JD, you've all been fantastic. And we shall see you again for another video. Take care all.